Okie dokie, Mark's mower's back on the trailer. Nothing really wrong with it, except these guys have started sticking again, where they, go down and then they don't come back up. And that's just because I squirted a bunch of 3-in-1 oil in them, worked them around, and then threw them back out here in the rain for 2 years. So for 2 years, that 3-in-1 oil has held up pretty good, but I think I'm going to pull that apart and try and get some actual grease in there maybe, and if that doesn't work, just more 3-in-1 oil, maybe some thicker 3-in-1 oil or something with a little bit more staying power, like some gear oil or something. But we'll see. Additionally, I think I'm going to get a little plastic, like welder, and pull off all this tape and see if I can get this cowl back together, maybe? It's something that just popped onto my radar, and I was thinking about buying one, and I was just looking at it this morning and going, I got no use for that. And then I just loaded this thing up in the trailer and went into film and realized, oh, that would be a perfect application to see if that thing is worth anything, worth any money. It's basically like one of those like pistol grip soldering guns, except it's got just 2 little posts on the end, and you stick a little metal zigzag doohickey in it. You press it into the plastic, it melts into the plastic, and it basically forms like a suture. And then you clip it off and sand it flat, and it's all repaired. So we may forego the racing stripe. I may paint on the racing stripe, we'll see. But I'm gonna see if I can fix up that plastic, because if that works, that'd be awesome. And it's just gonna break again somewhere else, but I just want to buy this thing and I want something to use it on, so that's what we're gonna do with it. But anywho, and then we'll go around and see if there's anything else that needs servicing, grease spindles and whatnot, and all that other fun stuff that you don't want to see anymore. And we'll see whether or not the drive belt is disintegrated again. We'll see. Okay, so mower's down off the trailer. It hasn't been too terribly long since it was here in the shop, but it's had a couple months on it, and the elements have not been terribly kind to it. There's a couple things that I need to address. The primary thing is that these guys are not spinning so freely down here in their linkages. So I need to pull this off here and see if I can get grease in those bearings and on those shafts in any way, shape, and form. Or if not, just literally apply 3-in-1 oil again, or maybe something with a little more sticking power. The blades are pretty close to being trashed, but I'm going to pull them off and try and put an edge back on them. Let's see. I want to try and repair the cowl if possible. Might be a lost cause, but I'll give it a whirl. I would like it to not, stop breaking so much. I think I want to do a valve adjustment on this as well, if I can guarantee that valve cover gaskets aren't going to cost like $70 or something stupid and John Deere related. I guess this is a Kawasaki, but anywho, I'm hoping I can just pull these off and get in there and adjust the valves, because I've never done that, and it probably needs it. It's got, nearly 500 hours on it. It's probably overdue for a valve adjustment. And yeah, I'm not going to bother showing you the blades or anything like that. You see me do that before. Okay, so I got the accelerator linkage out, and I have applied penetrating oil, then 3-in-1 oil, and then a little bit of MAP gas, and then I also followed up with some of this chain lube, and now I have got it in a very nice state, very free. This guy spins pretty much freely. That falls under its own weight. It's windy out, so I'm going to throw that back in. Hopefully this stuff has a little bit more staying power and a little bit more anti-corrosive power. But looking at this and these cotter pins, I really don't want to deal with disassembling this and trying to put grease in there. I might I think I am going to grab some white lithium grease and just kind of rub it in there just to make me feel better. And then we're going to just huck it right back in the mower, and that'll buy us another 2 years. Okay, that's back in, and it is returning to shape naturally on its own, with no resistance, so good. Now, that's the bare minimum I had to get done, so if push comes to shove, I can just push this mower back on the trailer and take it back to work. So I'll take my time and get the other things done. I think might have enough daylight to sharpen mower blades, probably not. But we'll knock the rest of that out. Hopefully that guy comes in and we can do that this weekend or next. I'll look into the valve covers, and hopefully we can bang this out real quick. Okay, well, I got valve cover gaskets on order. They should hopefully get here next week. Staple thingy should maybe get here this weekend, so it's a next weekend project. But in the time being, let's sharpen these blades, and hopefully they're not too horribly gone. I think the only they might have a season less left in them if we're lucky. Probably not, but I'm putting edge on them anyway, just because. Alright, scrape the crud off these guys. This is probably the best blade over here, but as you can already see, it's already wearing away a corner, and it's got a bit of a slope in it. And of course, this one out here on the outbound end is pretty much paper thin on the tip, and it's got a bit of a swoop in it. So they ain't got too much longer left on these guys, but really what I want to see is if this El Cheapo half-inch impact I bought has the beans to bust one of these free. If I can get it to seat properly. Easy peasy. Nice. Well, it looks like I didn't waste $130. Nice. Well, I think we're done. Only burned through 3 batteries. Good lord, do you mind not doing that? There we go. Who the hell torqued that? But yeah, so I'm just going to use my tried and true strategy of taking the shittiest blade and putting it on that side, and putting the best blade on that side, because I always run that side where the chute is, up against brush and sticks and stumps and stuff, and so this blade gets the piss knocked out of it. And that blade never really sees much damage, so you just do a little tactical swap on those, strip the bolts out with my little Chinese 450 foot-pound impact gun, and call it good for 3 months until all that metal I hogged away comes back to bite me because the blades explode. Alright, let's strip some threads. Oh, that ain't supposed to happen. I have no idea what that foot poundage is. I guess I should probably confirm, considering I've never used this before. I did have it on the low setting though, so there's that. Well, it appears I maxed out the clicky boy, which goes up to, you know, a nice solid 75 foot-pounds, which I can't even do one-handed. But yeah, might need to back that off a bit so I can get these off in the field if I need to. Alright, so I took those off and then redid it again, and I have now mentally calibrated my impact gun. It appears 3 Ooga-Doogas on the low setting with the quick mow torques out to somewhere between 60 and 75 foot-pounds, you know, very precise range. So yeah, about 65 seems to be about average, so that's about what I want 3 Ooga-Doogas to be on low. So yeah, I'll call that good. Alright, well I got a pile of stuff to do today, including this mower, and another mower, and a truck, and a tree, and a wheelbarrow, and a bunch of other things. But anywho, I just cleaned up all the valve cover gaskets just to get the mung off of them, so when I pop them off I don't dump a bunch of crap onto the valve train. And I'm also cleaning up the fuel pump because it is just nasty. And because I need to test the fuel pressure for a different mower that I think uses the same pump, so I'll just use this as a benchmark for, you know, a decent fuel pump. And maybe I'll throw this other one on there if it's the same pump and just check them. But anywho, that's kind of neither here nor there. Today I'm going to, hopefully, at the very least, grease up all the Zerk fittings and put air in all the tires. And then maybe if I'm lucky, I'll have enough time that I can pull all the tape and wire and epoxy off the cowl and use my new heat gun staple doohickey later to try and stick it all back together. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but I'll give it a college try. So I stuck this air pressure slash vacuum slash fuel pressure gauge just right on the outbound line for the fuel pump, and I'm going to crank this thing over and see what kind of fuel pressure we get from this thing at idle with, you know, throttle maxed out. I can't do that one-handed, and this does not save, you know, the pressure setting, so I'm going to have to be looking at that in real time. So I'm going to let y'all go, but I'll report back what it is, just, you know, for posterity's sake so that y'all know. But that's what I am going to attempt to do, and hopefully this doesn't just immediately blow up and spray fuel everywhere. Alright, so it shows that we have static fuel pressure of 2 psi. That's going to be very fun disconnecting that hose. I should probably go get the vice grips and a jug, but that worked. So we know, oh, it's going up, that's weird. So we know the fuel pump puts out about 2 psi, so that tells me what I need to know for the other mower. And that's probably correct. Well, for better or worse, I have removed all of the old duct tape and then pulled off all the pieces in the order they came off of, mostly. And that's what I'm dealing with here, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do anything about that, and I may have made a huge mistake, but I have a roll of Gorilla Tape, and I have some Bondo, so and I've got this little doohickey guy that I'm hoping will be the cure to what ails me, but I don't have a lot of faith. So we'll see how far I can get. And I just really hope I get somewhere. There's some epoxy holding this on right here. So I'll, oh, there went that. Yeah, so, yeah. Ugh. Well, wish me luck. Alright, well, I'm partway through. I did all of the lower cowl that I could, and so far I'm very impressed. I'm not going to wrench on it too hard because the rest of the plastic is all super brittle. Ooh, it just made a horrid noise. Don't do that. But yeah, it's been pretty flexible about what I could repair. I even kind of boogered those back together. Really, honestly, quite impressed with this old $25 Chinese kit. It's basically just like a toaster, kind of. It's like, that's just a resistive wire. You just plug it into both ends of this guy, click this button, and it just heats it up. It sinks on in there, and it just goes right through the duct tape adhesive, right through the dirt, right through the mung. It just melts the plastic and just kind of pushes its way in. You just stick it in until it feels about halfway, twist it, let go, let it sit for a second, pull it out, and then come back and clean off all the bits. And if you really care, you can sand everything all down and Bondo it, paint it, and get it all nice like, but I'm not going to do any of that shit. I'm just going to clip all of these, and maybe I'll spray it with some like polyurethane or something just to seal the crack. I'll probably just put more duct tape back on it. But it's kind of slow going. It's tedious. Each one of those takes about 5 to 10 seconds, depending on how quick you are. And I got to do all of this, and all of this, and all of this, and all of that, 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 and that, and I'm still only going to have maybe that much of this left at the end of it. I somehow got to figure out how to put that back on. And yeah, gonna be a lot of duct tape going back on this pig. Alright, I'm running out of daylight and I'm running out of beer, but I think I used about 325 of those little thingies, and we have stuck everything I had back onto this cowl, and it is pretty dang solid. I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed with that little $25 Chinese doohickey. I mean, that worked. I was honestly expecting that to be a lot worse, but it's not. This is kind of the only weak area. I'm not done yet. I'm gonna try and see if I've got some just filler plastic or something that I can like stick into here and into here, and then we'll have the whole cowl back for the most part, except for that right here and that guy down there. But we might do another one of those down here. No, this is the one half of the clamshell, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to see if I can find some fill to put in there. I don't really have anything handy at the moment, but I think that's it for today. It's good enough right now that if I had to throw this guy back on the trailer, I could, and the cow would be fine indefinitely. So I'll call that a win for now, but I'm going to try and find more plastic, fill that in, and then I'm going to put probably some more Gorilla Tape around the perimeter of this just to kind of help, lock it up, because it's still extremely brittle and it's going to break again. But hopefully I can mitigate it with the little staple gun guy, but it's good enough for today, and that's all I wanted. Look at that. Brand spanking new. Mint. Oh yeah, that's choice. Yeah, I really got to put some kind of fill there just to hide the, electricals. But yeah, that's a slightly in the future Tom problem, not a today Tom problem. Alright, it's been almost a week. We had a little baby tornado rip through here, so I've been dealing with that all the last couple of days. But the head gaskets just came in last night. So, well, not head gaskets, valve cover gaskets. So I just went through, cracked all the 10 mils off, so nothing is seized. And we're going to throw those in, set valve lash. I think it's a 14 millimeter and a 3 millimeter Allen, something like that. I don't know, I got it over here, I'll figure it out. And once we get all that done, I'm going to attempt to take some polyurethane spray, seal that big old gash right there, just kind of, you know, just come by, clean everything as best as I can with minimal effort, and just try and fill that gap in, let that set. And then I've got some Gorilla Tape, branded Gorilla Tape, and we're going to just reinforce this lip of the cowl and cover up all of these cracks. I'll probably do, you know, a couple pieces like this, one reinforcement piece all the way around here. You know, this side, I guess I really just need to, you know, I'll do some vertical reinforcement pieces, and then some horizontals like that, just kind of emulate what was there before. And, you know, that'll give it some sealage and as well as some, you know, extra strength, some flex. And yeah, then I think I'm going to spray paint a racing stripe on it because I really liked how it looked with the racing stripe. So I think we're going to go back with that little 3-inch stripe right down the center. And we'll see how that turns out. Okie dokie. Well, it looks like I'm going to have water today, so that's a plus. And I got the valve cover gasket off. Well, the valve cover, whole thing off. Gasket isn't in horrible shape. It actually came off pretty much in one piece, except for up here at the top. So good thing I did order gaskets, because that would have leaked. Let a bunch of dirt in there. Still don't know why there was mung all around the bottom of this. Not really certain where that was coming from. But anywho, cleaned a little bit of old gasket off up there. Took the spark plugs out on both sides, and I just spun her over by hand. And now that both of our rockers are loose, we're at TDC. Valve train looks nice. Don't know what this is about. I don't know if that was deliberately peened at the factory or if something went horribly wrong on this block before. But that's doing some of that over there. Anywho, I'm going to ignore it and grab my feeler gauges wherever I set them down here, which I have set to 3 and 2, so 5 thou. I think actually I'm going to knock out the 6 real quick, and we'll slide those in there and we'll see just how out of spec it is. Okie dokie, so we have the 12 thou gauge, which can't read because sun, but trust me. And it just kind of goes in with the, well, if I hold it in the right place, it goes in to the intake valve, and it goes in with a little bit more resistance in the exhaust valve. So we're at about 11 and 12 thou. It's supposed to be 5, so what I believe you have to do is loosen this center Allen key. Or no, I forget. You loosen one of these, then you tighten it. I think it is, yeah, it's you loosen this outer 14, which I think is equivalent to a 9/16. I think, yep. You loosen this guy, I believe, and then you turn the Allen key to tension it, and then you turn the big guy back to lock it down, or I have it backwards, one of the two. I'll let you know in a second. So I'm going to do that, adjust both of these to 5 thou. I hope I'm on the compression stroke, but they're both loose. So I can only assume I'm on the compression stroke, because otherwise the exhaust should be tight. Here is the spark plug out of that cylinder. Definitely running rich. It is fairly fouled. By comparison, here is the other cylinder, which looks, you know, greasy and oily, because it's a lawnmower engine, but got that nice white powder going on over there. That one is not running super rich. So hopefully that should rectify that problem, and we may have a bit more power, and we may have some of that lost compression that I saw. So I'm going to get to that, and I'll let you know when I'm done. Alright, well, those are done. I forget what I said it was, but it's this 14 millimeter that sets the adjustment, and then this, I think it's a 3 millimeter. It's whatever size this Allen key is, that then tensions it, so you just back this off and then twist this, and it is a really fine adjustment. I don't know why they set it up with a 14, but whatever. But anywho, that's all set. This guy's a little bit tighter than this one. This is like 4.5, and this is like 5. So, but It just needs to be between 4 and 6 thou. I tend to set these on the tighter side because they're gonna wear open anyway, so you might as well set it on the tighter end, and it'll just run. It'll, you know, start to run better as it wears into the middle of that, and then after that it'll run fine. But anywho, the gasket on this was fully petrified, so I just had to scrape all of that off. We're gonna throw a new one on there, throw that back on, go to the other side, and then I'm gonna clean up these spark plugs and throw all that back together, and then I'm going to work on trying to seal this cowl. I think I'm just going to use some painter's caulk, but we'll see. Alright, so something to note, I just popped the valve cover off of this side, and definitely was on the power stroke on the other side because our intake is loose and our exhaust is tight, so we know we set that side right. But I noticed in here, and I don't know if y'all are going to be able to make that out, but there's like 3 colors to this oil in here. So it's a little bit milky, so there's got to be some water in there, but also it smells strongly of gas. Also it kind of smells like pickled olives too, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's probably indicative that the fuel pump might be leaking. So I'm actually, I might need to look into that. But that could be bad because that would be washing cylinders and getting gas into the oil, but I don't think it's anything major, but it's definitely something to consider. There was more oil on this side. Well, it is also canted this way, but anywho, just something to note. Alright, well, the mutt is mad about the well guy, but anywho, this has been set. Interestingly, this guy up here at the top was still 6 thou, and this one down here was also the same sort of hot dog and hallway situation, although a little bit better. So that probably has something to do with the asymmetrical compression we had going on. I don't remember whether this one was lower or that one was lower. I think this one was lower, but anywho, I don't remember, so I'm not going to say anymore. But got these cleaned up, and we're going to throw the new valve cover gasket on, and hopefully that should be good. Alright, well, clean the plugs up just a little bit. Just spray them with some carb cleaner, then hit them with some propane, spray them with some carb cleaner again, then let them dry, then hit them with the propane just to burn the carbon off. Don't know if that really does anything. Then wiped them down. Anyway, threw them back in. Might help, might not. Probably didn't do anything. Probably just going to make the thing, you know, have some pre-ignition there on the front end when it lights up whatever's left of that carb cleaner in it. But it adds excitement to your life. Anywho, I'm going to attempt to sand this stuff down with these extremely cheap 120 grit sandpaper and try not to fracture this cowl. I just want to get all the pokey bits out of here. Probably not going to work, but we'll see. We'll see what I can do. Then I'm going to clean it with some just regular old bleach cleaner. Might actually I think I'll probably use glass cleaner just so I don't have to clean up as much residue. And then let that air dry, and then I think I'm just going to put some regular old caulk just down into this crack, and all of these holes, fill it in as best as I can, and then maybe just jam some more over here. We'll see. And then we're just going to layer it all in tape and paint a racing stripe. Call it a day. Well, that did pretty much exactly what I expected it to do. So, yeah. Guess I'll go get a sanding block or a metal file, probably the angle grinder, and with a flap disc. And just go after it. Alright, so I just threw the flap disc on the angle grinder, and I can do that without slicing my fingers open like I did with that earlier. So, that's all I wanted. I don't want it to look pretty, I just want it to not slice the hell out of anyone who leans on the mower, although that would be a good way to get people to quit leaning on the mower and breaking it. I am going to have to write instructions to lift here rather than here on the mower, because that's the reason why it always blows out up there. Anyway, don't know why they designed it like that and then didn't include instructions. I don't know, John Deere things, but I am just going to slather her down with some of this guy after I go get the glass cleaner and clean all this up. And just hope for the best. It should bake in the sun. It's nice and like 80 something today, so shouldn't take too long. Alright, there we go. That's as clean as I'm gonna get her. So, I'm just gonna let it dry for a minute and stick some caulk in there, and then let that dry, run a line of painter's tape, spray on a racing stripe, and then stick some Gorilla Tape on there. I'll probably do the Gorilla Tape first, then the racing stripe, because then I can just spray paint right over the tape. Look at that fucking slick monstrosity. Oh, my fleet of wheelbarrows is growing ever more day by day. Soon I will corner the market on old clapped out wheelbarrows. Anywho, caulk that up. It is probably, maybe, potentially, allegedly dry. Close enough, so we're just going to throw some spray paint on it. hope for the best, because I don't really care. Well, I guess I got to tape it first, then we'll spray paint it. So I'm going to do that. Okie dokie. Well, that's all been taped up. Took just exactly slightly more than one roll, so I'm glad I bought two. I already had another one, but anyway, I won't digress. There we are. Tried to keep the lines on the outside sharp, just to add some semblance of aesthetics. Might even actually snip this, just because it's bugging me, even though normally things don't bug me, but I actually tried, so it's bugging me. So maybe I'll actually mess it up and then I won't care, or unless this added, yeah, I think I will trim that actually. But anywho, she is nice and solid, so that should be nice. Now I'm going to take this off before it melts onto there, grab some of the painter's tape, and I think what I'm going to do is run a racing stripe that is exactly this wide all the way down the hood. We do have some yellow paint, but it's not the same color as what's on the cowl. It is kind of the same color as what's on the deck. You can see that I sprayed it on there. It's about a shade lighter. I would like it to be a nice, like, sharp safety yellow, like that, but I don't know. I'm tempted to I think I'm going to try and do yellow first, then we'll see how it looks, and if I don't like it, we'll just immediately put the tape back on and just spray paint it red, and we'll just consider the yellow primer, or something. We'll do something. Well, I've taped a trash bag on there just to prevent overspray, so guess let's get to rattle canning and hope this yellow matches, and if it doesn't, then it'll be red. Well, that has been buttered up, and both of my cans of yellow paint are now totally plugged and will not spray, and I'm not about to go stick a needle in there while staring at it and get paint in the eye. So yeah, we're done. Hopefully that is thick enough. I'm gonna let that sit for, I don't know, a half hour or so, and then I will peel off the bag and we'll see how it looks, and if it looks like ass, then we'll just spray paint it red, and we'll just consider that primer, and I'm sure it'll just flake off anyway. So anywho, that's, yeah. All right, well, the bag's off, and yeah, it's definitely way more pastel yellow. It is definitely a butter yellow, but you know what? I think we'll run with it. Let's just slowly and gently peel this off, see how it contrasts. Also see if we got any overspray. A little. Bam. Well, it definitely looks better with the racing stripe than it does without. And would like it to be more yellow, but I think it's good enough. I guess I'm gonna let that cure a little bit more, go finish playing with my new pile of broken well parts, and come back, throw her on the mower, and just see how it all looks together. I got impatient, so I just threw her on there, and yeah, let's get to the Craigslist side. Oh yeah, that's looking sharp. Not the right shade of yellow, but I'm just gonna live with it. I'm sure it'll fade even lighter, but I think that pops. It's nice. That's the best this mower's looked since we've had it. Yeah. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Guess all that's left is to fire her up and see if it still runs. Then go cut some grass and see if it runs any better with a fresh set of blades and a properly adjusted valve train. It runs! Alright, well, I just cut, around my house, probably half acre, maybe, at most. And all tape's still there, paint's still on, mower runs great. Can't really say it runs better than it did, but it sure as hell does not run any worse. So, yeah, I think that's it for this episode. I'm gonna huck her on the trailer and take her back to work, and call her a day, go drink some beer, So if you like what I'm doing here, if you want to see more being done to this here John Deere, because I'm sure there's going to be more things that break on this that I've got to cobble some fix together for. How about you like the video? Go down there, comment, tell me whether things I should try and fix on one of these bad boys right here. And if you want to see the rest of this saga, because I'm sure it will continue to be a saga, you got to subscribe. Until next time, I'm out.